Coming to you from the M&M Exterior Studio in Nooksville, Virginia, this is Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle, the introvert's extrovert. She talks to people so you don't have to. For now.
So Sarah Shores, right? Make sure I said that right.
Yes, it's Sarah Shores. And I had what I would say would be a pretty normal, typical career. You know, I went to, I'm originally from Massachusetts, but I went to the Coast Guard Academy and served for 20 years in the Coast Guard and did predominantly engineering stuff. You know, I had an engineering degree from the Academy, and then I got a master's in engineering management. So I did a lot of project management stuff. And had a very athletic, you know, kind of active lifestyle. And then I retired from that when I just didn't want to leave the area anymore. At the time, I also rode horses, and I had a couple horses that I really enjoyed. And so, again, I was pretty active. And then I went into the federal government and worked at several different government agencies. And it was probably a couple of years after I retired that, you know, I picked up Lyme disease when I was out gardening, I think. I didn't, you know, I had the flu-like symptoms, didn't really think it was much of anything, thought it was a flu and I'll get over it. You know, at that point I had a pretty demanding job, lots of stress, but, you know, I think I supervised like 250, 300 people at the time.
Wow.
And but I was really excited about it, and it was a great opportunity. And then all of a sudden I had Lyme, and I was really tired. Everything hurts.
And that was probably so different because you were so active. Like,
yeah,
we're so used to going, and then just kind of being flat out.
Just to get any kind of workout in was extremely painful. And then the brain fog. So you kind of you're really working hard just to focus on one thing. So it was. I even got to the point where my knees hurt so bad, it felt like someone was drilling a nail in the sides of my knees. And and I thought, I finally, all the running I did finally caught up to me. My cartilage is gone. You know, this is the end of the road. And so I went to a doctor and had my knees x-rayed, and there's nothing wrong with my knees. Wow. It was, they said, oh, you have a knee of a 30-year-old. So I said, well, this is exciting, except for the pain is real. And so it was all that Lyme disease stuff. Wow. So I just was really amazed at how I could just move around. And I got to the point where if several years into this with antibiotics and steroids, which is what all of the different doctors I went to tried, several years into this, I got to the point where if I just didn't move, I was okay. So I would sit at my desk and just not move. And I could type, but if I had to get up and go to a meeting, it was hard. And if I had to go to a meeting where I had to walk across, you know, the other side of the building or something like that, that was really hard. Wow. And then at the same time, I was also teaching as an adjunct professor. So I was really kind of doing two jobs. So to stand while I was teaching, it was also really difficult. So I got so I was kind of half standing, half sitting just to get through the class. But again, that brain fog was just really awful. So so this quality of life wasn't getting any better after many, many years. And it was just getting worse.
Now, in between all that, so because you're the owner of Warrenton Wellness, right? Mm-hmm. So were you seeking treatments, you know, in the process of all this, you know, because you had that super active lifestyle, you get hit with Lyme's, you are getting to debilitating pain, right? You know, just your body feels like it's shutting down. Sounds like, were you seeking other ways, or was it kind of just, this is it?
Yes, I am. I was looking, I mean, I certainly went to a lot of doctors, and, you know, one doctor, you know, I said, I have to take ibuprofen every day. And he said, well, that's, you know, how much you take? And I said, you know, 200 to 300 milligrams a day. And he said, oh, that's not bad. And I said, well, I don't want to take ibuprofen my whole life.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I had also tried some functional medicine doctors, which were probably more in line with what I was thinking, but they're not covered by my insurance. So the regular, you know, just going to visit them was several $100s, and the protocols were several $100s more, and it was every month. And so it got to the point where it was difficult for me to afford that, to keep going. And some of the protocols might have worked, but they required, do this 20 minutes before you eat and 2 hours after you eat. And when you're in meetings and stuff like that, it's really, it was hard. So I tried several different things, especially as also acupuncture certainly helped, but I would have these flare-ups whenever I was under super stress, and the fatigue was just debilitating. I would sleep every weekend. That's all I knew. Yeah. So it was really, that's not much of a life.
Yeah. And I feel like there's all different reasons that people can be debilitated, for different, Lyme's, and then mental health too, depression and things like that. But I feel like that extreme fatigue is something that people don't talk a lot about, and how emotionally draining it is.
Yeah, it is bone numbing fatigue. And you just can't move. So it's pretty amazing. So I really got to the point where once you have all that fatigue, the depression fits in. Because it's like, where am I going with this? I don't see an end out. And the steroids that I was taking, I guess the steroids don't directly cause this, but man, I was, eating like a little piggy here, and I was just eating anything in sight. So I was putting on a pound about every day and a half when I was on those. And so I put on a lot of weight and felt awful with those. So finally I just stopped those, and I said, I can't do this anymore. So I was searching and had heard about the Blu Rooms. And at the time they were only on the West Coast. So to commit financially to fly out there and try it was a big mental commitment. Yeah. But we put everything in it, and we just said, we're just going to try this. And at the time, the antibiotics and steroids had done a number on my digestive system. So I was in a lot of pain there. But then what was really amazing was my first visit in the Blu Room, I could feel things moving around, and voila, my digestive issues were gone in one visit. And so it was like, oh, I have to keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, what I love about why I wanted to chat more with you too, specifically, not just because you opened the Blu Room in Warrenton, but hearing more, that you've had this journey from your health crashing and then now rebuilding it. But what I always think is so interesting, I love talking to just different people, and we have different approaches and kind of outside the box thinking. And with you, what I always find so fascinating is when someone's background is kind of just the opposite of what you would think. And so because this isn't, I just feel like it's more outside of the box. So when you said, your engineering background and very, I would guess that you are very data driven. Logical. Yes, logical. So it's like, I always perk up because another one of my guests, we talk a lot about, intuition and our wounds and stuff. And she has a computer science background. So once again, it's like not someone you would think, would talk about certain things. And so I'm always fascinated by that, because it's like, okay, Sarah, take me, you've been on this crazy journey. You're here, but like, I don't know though, because people are like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing to talk to, because I would guess that you would be one of those people who says, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah. If I didn't have the Lyme, I would not be thinking this way at all. Mm-hmm. And so in the hindsight, the Lyme was a blessing to change the course of where I was going. Wow. Because certainly my intention was to do other things at first. And now I really realize I enjoy this. And what I enjoy a lot, besides, helping people, is I'm constantly exploring new areas in my own mind. And because, from a logic perspective, I didn't realize they were there, because I'm always taught with, I have a lot of math and science in my background, and that's what you study. But instead, if you turn and study your own mind, you realize all the potentials that are there, including healing yourself. But so it started me on a way different journey than I ever could imagine. But it's been really wonderful. And so It's kind of funny when you think about it, because if you went back 20 years and said, oh, Sarah, you're going to be a small business owner. I said, no way.
Yeah.
Why would I do that? That's a whole lot of work.
Yes. Yep. You have to be passionate about the thing, because if you're not
you do.
and sold out and know, and I love what you said about exploring your mind and looking inward, because that's the whole, I feel like that message comes up over and over, whether it's the physical healing and how it's physical is tied to our mental. And I would love to have you, I've tried to explain this to my husband, and I haven't, and I want everyone to hear this, because I got to come see you at the Blu Room and I got to experience it. And I forget why we even talked about it, but you walked me through this analogy of the neighborhoods, and you live in this neighborhood, but you want to go to another neighborhood.
Right.
And I've been thinking about that ever since. Like every time I get a little stressed or something, I'm like, I need to go to a new neighborhood.
Right.
So instead of having you jump just straight into it, I would also love to that's why what made me think of is you talked about looking in our own mind. So I'd love to have you expand on that a little bit more. And then of course, give that analogy, which you did so beautifully.
Well, thank you. Well, the Blu Room allows you to be isolated from the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. The mirrored walls, the octagon shape, just the feeling when you go in there is leave everything behind. This is 20 minutes just for you. Mm-hmm. And it's 20 minutes for you in your own mind. And so that's a treat, because we just don't do it very often on a normal basis. So, when you go in, it's a table that you like a massage table that you lay on. So when you lay down in between the healing frequency of the music and the other acoustical tunes going on, plus, the narrowband UV ultraviolet B light, it makes for a very relaxing atmosphere. So you can finally get away from everything else outside, your to-do list, the grocery, going to the grocery store, all your errands, just forget those. Hopefully you can relax and get past your personality, which is, the personality is in charge of maintaining the status quo. That's what it does, because the status quo is known. It's just known, and it's safe because we know what's going to, no matter how bad the status quo is, it's known.
We love our comfort zone. We love it.
Yes, we love our comfort zone. So, we want to get you to another place where, if you relax and you get to that place you go when you meditate, sometimes can be the theta state, which is where you can, increase your creativity, dream, do a lot of different things in that state. So hopefully this makes it easier for you. And we have a lot of people that come in that have never meditated. And so there's no requirement to do that. And this helps them get to that different place in their mind that allows them to get away from all of the chaos of the outside world. So when they're calm like that, then they can do wonderful things. And, that's where you get the body responds to that calm mind. So while you're in there, if you want to go to a different place in your mind, and I use the analogy neighborhood, it's just another place in your mind. The person who came up with that was not me. I think it's a cool name, but it's the founder of the Blu Room. It's Jay-Z Knight. So you go to a new neighborhood in your mind where, say, for instance, you've always been free of stress. So you start building that neural net as you think that, and build it so that, it's basically starting a dirt road to that new place in your mind where you've always been free of stress. So you can think of those things, and then when you come out, again, this is not original thought on my part, but it's as you go through the world of chaos around you, hopefully you don't react anymore like you used to, and you're calmer. And if you start, getting fearful or having, thoughts that are bringing you back to your old place in your mind where you have a superhighway, you self-correct. Again, that's the self-correct interrupts the thoughts, and you say, no, I have always been free of stress. So, that's how you can start changing your mind. And, and that self-correct is the inventor of the Blu Rooms, J.C. Knight's trademark approach to changing your mind. And you don't have to do any of that. You can go in, relax, and enjoy it. But I find that as the more times I'm in there and exploring different parts of my mind where I'm free of judging myself, that's a new one.
Yeah. That's a whole new concept for all of us, Yeah. That judgment is strong. That judgment is strong.
Yeah. And, I don't know where that comes from. I had a normal childhood, everything was fine. I'm not sure where that judgment of self, that's a big one. And so can you imagine what it would be like to live without that?
Yeah.
So, one at a time, just tick off the things that, are holding you back from living a life filled with joy. And, why can't we live that way?
For sure.
It's, I'm finding that, with the stress and the expectations that I put on myself, really put me in a box. And as you start with all that stress, but just all the well, I need to do this, and this. Well, that really wears you down and isn't good for your body. It means it's not that you don't go out and do things. You do them in a different way where your mind is, much clearer and much calmer, than just going out and, well, I got to attack something, and I got to succeed at this. I have to do this. Well, you can still succeed, but you can do it in a calmer way.
And all those you change all those have tos and need tos and shoulds. You kind of get rid of all that.
Yes. And, when you truly let yourself go and find out what you truly want to do, or in my case, it was just letting go a lot of the self-judgment or the have-to-dos or what is it that I really enjoyed. I mean, I retired for 1.5 years just because, I got tired of the commute into DC. And I really had to contemplate, because I like to garden and I was having a good time. And why come out of retirement to start, a business? And and it turned out after I really thought about it, is truly helping people is really rewarding if they want to help themselves. And even if they don't want to help themselves, it helps a little bit. And even that in itself is really rewarding. So it was really worth doing. And I really wanted to, I always wanted to make a difference in the world. And so I really feel like, one person at a time and making a difference. And that's really kind of cool.
That's awesome. And when I was listening to you talk about, the Blu Room and all this stuff, I feel like it's adding tools to your health and wellness tool belt. Because for me, what I've learned, because I suffer with migraines and then just, trying to always work on mental health for me and my family. And then, of course, through the podcast, lots of people, trying to add tools to the tool belt. Because, I feel like there's never a quick fix and there's never a one size fits all. Right. And so, if just like there's, I was just watching something about foam rollers, it was the fascia on your muscles. I'm not even aware. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I don't do that because I don't work out that hardcore yet. Maybe I will. But, it's like not everyone uses the same thing.
Right.
And so I was thinking like with the Blu Room, that's almost, it's that option that if people have tried other things, it might not work. And I appreciate you, of course, starting this here in, Warrenton, if you're local to here, but if you're outside of this, just kind of adding this, anywhere where people live, to know that this is an option. Because I know for me, when I was really in a low point of my migraines, like pain unbearable, trying all the things, I was looking at flying to Houston for like a medical procedure, that finally found someone that it seemed like what they said was what I was going through. And, you always get worried of like taken advantage of, or is this real or is it not? And I always go back to like, if it helps, whatever the reasons are, because this world is too big to understand, for me, like God and creation and all this stuff. It's like, there's just how does this all keep working? So if these tools can help us, I think that's, it's because when you're at those places, you've tried all the things, and I feel like it's either you lose hope. And like you said earlier, if this is my life, or, you can find relief in some way. So.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, when you're really in a lot of pain and, it's worth a try to see if it works for you. If anything, what I realized on my first time was it gave me hope. Mm-hmm. And I said, I was just so full with hope. Whether it worked after that, it didn't matter. But the fact I had hope, so on my journey, so I could really change my attitude, which also helped my health. So, the Blue Room isn't designed to treat physical conditions. Mm-hmm. It hopefully gets your mind to a place where you can relax and do it yourself. So it's one of those unique places that you go in, you truly understand you're isolated from the rest of the chaos of the outside world.
For sure.
And most of us just don't ever have time or have a place like that. I'm sure did you feel kind of like an immersion experience kind of a thing when you did your session? Yeah. So that's kind of what it feels like. And
it reminded me of, not at the time, it was more just that immersion, but it makes me think of the pods, where people go to those pods of like the salt water,
right,
where they float,
right. Yeah. I think they do like sensory deprivation. I've never done one, but I've heard it.
And it's not totally sensory because you had the music and stuff. But once again, that's why I go back to, whether, I know that you and I talked before and the different ways it helps get you and your body to different states. But for me, I just keep going back to that. It goes back to tools. Like if this finally puts you in a place, sometimes we need to be forced, just like joining a gym. Mm-hmm. We can all go run outside. We can all go lift up bags of sand, in our backyard. We don't need to join a gym necessarily, but there's all these benefits once we do. Mm-hmm. And that's how I see so much just from my super small experience with you and, getting to do that. It's like, oh my gosh, to be in this environment where you can allow your body to just totally relax. Mm-hmm. And however the heck this all works in our body, I know that scientists know, thank goodness, and other people know, but just gives us a chance, if anything, for our mental health, just to
it is a
focus.
It is clearly a mental reset, and is what it's all about. And I never appreciated how important that was until I actually got it.
Yeah,
the narrowband ultraviolet B light, sunlight has ultraviolet A and ultraviolet B. Most of sunlight is ultraviolet A. A portion of it is ultraviolet B. Ultraviolet B is the stuff that when it touches your skin, it makes you or encourages you to produce your body's own vitamin D3. And so in the Blue Room, it's ultraviolet B that we have the lights in. So, some people say, well, why don't I just go sit out in the sunlight? Well, you can, but you won't have a room where you can really kind of isolate yourself. But also you have ultraviolet A, which is more damaging and less safe than ultraviolet B. That's a little bit of a difference between, but going out and getting some sun now and then is not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're kind of designed to do that. And we need that a little bit of that. But anyway, it's really one of those things that, you can come in, have a power nap, do 20 minutes power nap and feel wonderful after you've done. And in the middle of the day, take a break and come on in, or do it at the end or the beginning, something like that, whatever works for you. I have all the clients I have all have different preferences. And some people definitely want to come during the day. Others want to come definitely at the end of the day so that it's easier to clear their mind. So it all depends on, what works for you. It's a little bit more than just opening the door and explaining to them, I'll be back in 20 minutes. And
yeah. And that for me, that was the biggest surprise, actually. And that's why I enjoyed it so much and why I wanted you to talk about the neighborhoods and, it's a dirt road, but you have to, it's covered in weeds and you just have to keep walking on it until it eventually becomes, the super highway. And, I just thought my expectations when I went to see you was, it's like literally what you just said. You'll just open the door, go lay down, and this magical thing's going to happen. That's kind of what I imagined. And once I got there, I was like, this is helping me tune into my own stuff and to let go of all the stuff that we carry around. And so Sarah, for you, having that, you started with the super athletic life, and then the Lyme's knocked you out, the pain. Where are you at today with your life? You know, because it sounds like you've got so much mental control now because you work really hard at your mindset and whatnot. So how is life today?
Life today is really interesting. It's wonderful. Actually, I have a lot of energy. So I'm here 12 hours a day, which I probably could not even think of back when I was having my Lyme issues.
Yeah.
So I definitely have started back up, exercising, walking and stuff like that. And now it becomes, I got to fit more time in, to really exercise, because I do have some specific goals of, I'd like to get back to, running again, 5K and things like that. Back in my pre-Lyme days, I did ultra marathons, which were 50-mile races. I did the JFK a couple times and things like that. I don't really have a desire to put all that time in anymore. It's kind of like I've kind of done that. It was really fun and I enjoyed it, but I'm in a different phase now. So I'm happy just doing short stuff and fun stuff. And every year I say I'm going to be a little bit more fit, and then I get caught up in everything. So it's going to be a priority this year, because I also last year I sponsored the Come As You Are 5K, and that she usually does in Verdun Adventure, which I really love that little 5K. So it's a great organization. So I wanted to sponsor that again this year. So I would like to, do a better job at my 5K there.
Oh, yeah. And I love the name of that, Come As You Are, because we need to just embrace, this is the life we've been giving. Today is the day. Tomorrow's not promised. And so if we can live our best life today, no matter how we're showing up, then come as you are.
So, at some point, I'd like to work out the time. I'd like to get back to riding horses again someday. For me, it is, I had really had to contemplate where I was going, and the calendar says I'm going to be 61 this year. And I said, you know what? I just don't believe that. I really want to go to a place in my mind where I have lots of energy, and I don't really, I don't have to be like a 61-year-old,
You can define what that means to you.
Exactly. So, to me, 60 is a new 40. And that's my truth.
Yes.
So, so let's rock it, and so I just have too much to do, and that I want to accomplish. And it's not a success thing. It's an experience thing, things I really want to experience again.
Yeah.
So, and I think everybody can relate to that.
For sure.
If you fast forward 20 years from now, where do you want to be? Definitely for me personally, I want my world to just be getting bigger and wider and broader and more exciting. And that's what I've put out there for myself. I don't want to follow this path of, okay, I'll do my business for 10 years and then what am I going to do after that? I'm just going to sit home and enjoy my friends, of course, and everything. And that's wonderful. I've had a great life. No, that's not me. And so I just have lots of things I want to experience still. And so I think that's probably, and I need my physical body to be at its best. And so when I focus on, not only helping everybody every day, then I also focus on making sure that my body just stays forever healthy. So, it's kind of nice to just not have any issues.
For sure. What I heard in your voice was hope and joy. And I feel like, those are the things we need to keep moving forward, because if you're at a place, it's, and I think with physical ailments, it so quickly brings us to a place of no hope, no joy. And for you to have that, and it's regardless, with what you have, the tool you have to offer, which is, I'm excited to kind of be able to let people know about it. The Blu Room, regardless, the things I've seen too is the mindset and taking time for yourself, that no matter what, even if you don't do the Blu Room, that having the mindset shift and the taking time for you, because you're normal. We don't know. We kind of, instead of living our life to, I want to get back to, as you said, the ultra marathon runner, like it's not about getting back to ultra marathon runner. It's about getting back to the best you today. And if that's running 5Ks and, you know, having energy to be at a business for 12 hours, I think that's one thing I've just been working on, is not getting stuck on where I was, you know, getting back to, you know, that feels so limiting to think, oh, I have to get back to that. Why not get forward to the new thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that I have the advantage of being in a Blu Room when I want to, you know, which is really kind of fun. And, you know, you just try to keep expanding. You spend the time to find things that are like, say, telling you that you can't, and you just address those and move on, you know, get rid of them, and let them pass. Let it pass, and go to a different neighborhood where they're not there. And because it's you know, why can't we have a life of what you want? You know, whether it's you know, some people really want material success. There's nothing wrong with that, and you know, go for it. And you know, so it's one of those things that life is made to be experienced. And the Blu Room helps me to experience all aspects of living that I might not have been able to get past my own limitations to go out and experience. You know, it's one of those things that if you could look back now and you say, well, gee, 20 years ago, if I just had the same attitude, I could have done a lot more.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And it's like, you know, I am a collection of of all my past experiences, and so you know, they're wonderful to build on, and just keep on building.
Keep on building. Don't turn back. Keep moving forward. So if someone is interested in trying the Blu Room, and extra bonus, getting to be in your space and hear some words of wisdom before they step into the Blu Room, what does it look like to give it a try, you know, to get started? And then how can they get in touch with you too?
Well, it's a 20-minute session, but for the first session, if you could allow 45 minutes or so for us to kind of chit chat and go through some of the process, you know, if they want to schedule an appointment, they can do it online from my website, warrentonwellness.com, or they can call me at 540-216-2524. And either one of those will work. I'm open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 6, and Saturdays 10 to 4.
Awesome. Well, I know that just hearing, you know, people that have been through just the struggle, you know, the physical struggle, no matter what it is, and have found something, I think it's always so helpful to share, you know, to share. And then of course, you offering something in the like Warrenton, Virginia, Northern Virginia area that is not anywhere close, you know, to the East Coast, I think is exciting too, you know. So I'm excited for people to learn more about the Blu Room and you. And like I said, I think that just your story is powerful, your journey. And I just always love when, you know, someone who has a super technical background, you know, that's super logical, data driven, you know, I just feel like for me, especially, it's like, I take notice, you know, like, okay, this is someone who's skeptical, I imagine, of, you know, facts and things like that. And so if you're a believer, it's like, there might be something here I want to look into. So
yes. It was definitely I had to put my logical brain aside and just relax. And it was not easy to do.
Yeah.
But the logical brain comes back in when I say, okay, well, what happened?
Am I feeling better? And I think what I love is, I think the science is catching up. Like, this is not a technical thing I'm saying. This is not related to what our topic today. This is just my own personal opinion of, you know, I just think that so much of the stuff that we're like, we don't know why it works or this or that. Like, there's so much that's coming. And that's why for me, just that whole mindset thing is so powerful. Just having your mind believe and all this stuff. That's why they say the power of, you know, the positive thinking when someone's going through, you know, medical stuff. And we don't know why.
It's amazing because, you know, for the most part on our day to day, we use about 10% of our brain. So what's the other part, 90% for? I mean, it's not just to hang a hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, what's it there for? And so that's the part that everybody's exploring and trying to figure out. But if 90% of it is we're not using for the most part, well, geez, we got to really get into that, because it's there's something important in there. And, that 10% that we use to get us through the day and do our jobs and everything else is fine. But, let's unlock the power of the other 90%.
Definitely. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your story, and of course, your new passion with opening up the Blu Room in Warrenton with Warrenton Wellness. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Samantha. I really do appreciate that. And hopefully people will better understand what the Blu Room's all about.
Yeah, definitely. And to have an option to find that hope, because I know that is essential with our health and wellness.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for now.
Thanks for listening to Flushing It Out with Samantha Spittle. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. For all things flushing, visit our website at flushingitout.com. This has been a Spitfire production.
That was the greatest thing I've ever heard.